Here's some of the things that I'm going to be using to get these clippings to root and develop some really good healthy roots. Hopefully this works. So what I have here is the wood chips that I brought in from outside, the ground cover that I brought in from outside. I have some potting mix that I'm going to use, also my other little helper. Some potting mix that I'm going to use also, and I'm going to be using these cups. And the guy that I saw that was doing this, he used clear cups, and I like the idea of the clear cup because you can see what roots are growing in there. He used larger cups than these, but I figure, you know, it wouldn't hurt. This is what I had on hand. One thing you'll notice whenever you watch my videos, I try and use stuff that I have already on hand instead of going out and buying things, just to save money. It shouldn't be a budget buster to do any of this stuff. It should, you know, be something that is pleasant, that's not stressful. If you're stressing out because you feel you need to spend a lot of money on stuff, then you're doing too much. If you don't have clear cups, you can always cut a soda bottle. Just cut it to the height that you want it to be. I'll probably cut it just below this label right here to use. So you can cut those and use those, and that's a good way to reuse and recycle. And then also this container right here. This container right here is where I'm going to place all of the cups and bottle halves in. And you'll see how I put that together as well. Oh, I forgot to mention on these cups, I have scissors right here so that I can cut the bottom, just slice a part of the bottom here, put some holes in the bottom for the water to drain out. Okay, so then these are the branches from the hibiscus. And some of these already have, I don't know if that's noticeable, some of these already have some roots growing. Like this one has 3-4 good roots growing out of it already. And he has buds still. And like I said, I clipped these off. Oh my goodness, look, this is June now, so 6 months. 6 months ago, I clipped these off, so they've been sitting in water for 6 months, and that's the only root growth that's happened. That's why I'm trying to do this experiment, I guess you could call it, since I've never done this before. That's why I'm trying to do this, so they can develop even better roots. And like this one, you can see that it has the little nodes on there. It has a root, but it also has those white little nodes on there, where roots will start to grow from there. And that's how I knew these were still alive, not because of the roots. I just discovered the roots that was on there today when I pulled them out of the water. But I knew that they were still alive because on some of these, well, this one is very obvious, although I couldn't see this one because the container I had them in was pretty deep. But on some of these, it's really, you can see at the tips, they're still green. And so I knew that they were still viable clippings, that they were still alive. In the bag underneath those clippings, you can see I have the fig cutting that I took off of my mother-in-law's plant a couple of days ago. That's why it looks all shriveled now, because it's been a couple of days. I got that on Sunday. So anyways, I'm going to work on putting all of this together, and I'm not going to be able to just sit here and hold the camera, and I don't have a tripod yet. So I'll just, as I go along, I will show you each step of the way. Okay. So I just finished cutting some slits into the cups. I don't know if you can see that. slit there, one on each side, like so the water can drain out when I water these. And I cut some slits. Well, actually, I melted some slits on these. It was just easier to do it that way on the bottles. So now I'll start arranging and putting in the dirt. Okay, so I just wanted to show you how loose your soil should be and how it should drain. It should have a lot of good drainage. It shouldn't retain a lot of water. When you put water in, it should just flow right through, straight through. I don't know if you guys can see that filling up in there, but it doesn't take long for the water to get all the way, you see it dripping now, to go through, and that's exactly how you want it to be. Okay, so I have the first one done here. I got him in there with all the little goodies. And then at the top here, I cut the tip off. You can see inside here where it's nice and green, so you know he's alive still. But I cut the tip off. I don't know how much. Probably, I guess this is what, about 4 inches? 4.5 inches, probably. And a lot of these that are really long, I'll be cutting them off because I believe at the tip they're dead. Yeah, see, I could easily snap that in half. And they're not, you know, it's not necessary to keep dead weight on there when you're trying to grow something like this. It needs to be able to put all its energy into starting these roots and stuff. So I clipped that off. And when I get to the fig, I'll show you how I'm going to do that one as well. Okay, so I got the first batch of them filled into the containers. Clipped off some excess parts. They don't need to be really long because the plant needs to be able to use its power and energy to form roots. And a lot of that energy, if I left the twigs this long, a lot of that energy would be used up trying to generate life in the tops of these branches and stuff. So I trimmed them all down. Some of them were good enough that I was able to cut them in half and start to get an extra clipping out of it. So that was great. So as you can see in the box here, I just put some of the wood chips in the bottom. Some of the wood chips I just put down here in the bottom, and I'll finish filling in the rest of these spots with these containers here, and just line them up in here. And then I will, after I finish getting them all lined up, I will cover the top over with more wood chips. So if you notice, I didn't put the clippings in the actual wood chips. I put the clippings in some potting mix, loose potting mix, and loosen that up even more with the ground cover from my yard. And that's what I put in the cups so that the roots can grow into, and the plant will still get nourished from that. But I didn't plant them directly into the wood chips. Whenever you're doing any kind of gardening, wood chips is good to use for mulch. It's good to use as a base underneath stuff, but you have to top it with with some soil, compost and things. And you'll see whenever I plant stuff, I start with a base of wood chips because wood chips absorbs water like sponges. and it holds the water, locks it in, retains the moisture. It also retains the heat, and when it's cold, and insulate your plants. That's why it makes good mulch, because it regulates temperature. So it helps to insulate your plants as they're growing in the cooler weather. And in the hot weather, it shields and protects your plants from the heat, extreme heat, and retains the water, keeps the soil moist. So that's going to go in around these, and then I will stick this outside. Okay, so this is how it looks all covered up with the wood chips now. I have 13 cuttings in here. So now all I need to do is just wet it and then place it outside where it's going to remain 4 months until the roots start. I believe I have to wait at least a month before I pull any of this apart to check and see. And I will, believe me, I will update you on the progress of these to see if this is a success for me, my first time, or is this going to be a failure. We'll see. We'll find out together. So let me get this watered and placed where it goes. Okay, so this is where I chose to sit it. It's under our little, I forget what you call these, but patio cover. So not where it's going to get direct sunlight, because I'm not trying to get it to grow leaves and stuff yet. I just want it to grow roots. That's the important part. I don't know if you can tell in here, I already wet all the wood chips, watered it down. You can see on the side of the container here where the water comes up to about right here. I shouldn't have to wet it or water it very often, or hardly anymore. I don't know, our days are starting to get warm. Like today, we're going to be in the 90s. All the rest of this week, we're going to be in the 90s. So it'll be plenty warm enough. And I guess that's what in my research, that's what I've seen, that you want the roots, the part that is under the dirt, to be warm. So hopefully it'll get warm enough under there to where it'll generate and promote good root growth. But okay, so this one is done. I will update you. I'll probably go in here and get the second batch thrown together and placed out here next to it, so they'll be side by side, and get it labeled and dated of what they are, and I will keep you updated. I'm almost finished with the hibiscus. I have 2 more branches to do. I decided I wanted to move on to the fig right now, and as you can see, part of this branch already has a root coming out the bottom, but I scraped it up a little bit around so that hopefully it'll promote some more root growth. And I cut off the top, so I have 2 pieces actually. 2 tries, 2 chances right here. So I'm gonna rough up the bottom on this one, and then take all these leaves off, and I'll probably leave just that little nub right there, that little bud. I'm gonna take everything else off completely. Okay, so let me get to that. I have everything finished now. Ended up with 4 containers, 2 big ones, 2 little ones. This container right here is the figs. There's only 2 of them in there because I cut that one in half. And then the rest of these are all hibiscus. I have my label on there with the date that I did these and what they are. So we'll see what happens. I'll come back out and I'll just periodically water it a little bit, but most likely they won't need any watering because of the wood chips will hold in a lot of that. I will keep you posted and I will post updates and let you know how things is going, if it's working out, or let you see what's jumping off with this. My hope is that the 2 figs, at least the 2 figs, make it. I really, really want to try figs. I keep hearing people talking about them, so I want to try them. And this branch that I got, this cutting was off of a tree that's fruiting, so hopefully it won't be too long before I'll have fruit if these take. So we'll see. Okay, I'll see you guys in a month.